is Whitney Nielsen, and I am here today because I witnessed firsthand the violations happening within the Etiwanda School District's CLOUDS program. These violations targeted the district's youngest and most vulnerable students, preschoolers and transitional kindergartners, who rely on adults to protect them. Instead of prioritizing their safety and well-being, this district ignored clear concerns, retaliated against those who spoke up, and allowed a toxic environment to fester. When I stepped into my role as a substitute teacher, long-term sub at Terra Vista Elementary, I am a clear credentialed special education teacher who was getting back into the workforce after taking a break for compassion fatigue. My dream job was at Etiwanda School District. I've grown up in this district my whole life. 41, went to Windrose, EIS, Etiwanda. I wanted to get back to my community, and this was going to be it. This was my chance. I had good rapport as a substitute teacher. I worked in many CLOUDS classes. I've been a long-term sub. But when I got to Terra Vista, something changed. I expected to be part of an inclusive, supportive, and ethical educational environment, but what I found was opposite. I walked into a classroom riddled with violations. I saw disorganization and chaos that directly impacted the students. I saw trauma, not only in the students, but the employees, who are expected to work in these conditions. As a trauma-informed educator, I understand how unsafe environments affect a child's development. But what shocked me even more was the blatant harassment of staff members by Principal Kim Pollock. I personally witnessed my coworkers being pulled out of the class during instructional time, intimidated, and harassed. And at one point, I too became a target for simply doing my job ethically. One of the most appalling moments was when my co-teacher and I were reprimanded for taking a special education student to the restroom before a fundraiser. Because last minute, this student got excited and needed to use a potty break and was using their voice. A student that has speech issues was using their voice and saying, "I need to use the restroom," and we got in trouble for it. A fundamental part of caring for young children is ensuring their basic needs are met, and it was treated as an inconvenience. Instead of supporting the teachers and meeting the needs of our most vulnerable students, this district has punished us relentlessly for the past year. I took my concerns to you, Ms. Sprague, expecting to be heard. I have yet to get a response from you. I have been ignored for over a year. Not only ignored, but retaliated against. My position was eliminated, and I refused to write IEPs for a student that I had only seen for a mere 7 days. Show me, where's the data for that student? How am I supposed to have any information on him when there was no tracking? And you want me to put my name on a legal document? IEPs are legal, and no ethical teacher should ever be pressured into falsifying student records, especially without the data, observations, or the time to get to know the child's needs. I stood my ground, and for that, I was pushed out. But let's be clear about why this really happened. The real issue was not just the IEPs. It was the abuse that occurred in that classroom before I entered it. I made a mandated report the second reasonable suspicion was found. Once something was said to me, I made a report. Instead of fixing this issue, the district engaged in psychological warfare against the employees who dared to speak the truth. I want to be very clear. It is never acceptable to harass and intimidate employees into silence, especially when students' safety is at risk. And Superintendent Sherman Sprague, I want you to know, I'm deeply disappointed in your lack of action. I brought my concerns about a classroom riddled with violations directly to you, and you did nothing. But then again, I shouldn't be surprised because any superintendent who turns a blind eye to abuse doesn't really care about their students at all. The youngest and most vulnerable students in the district deserve better. And teachers and staff who spoke out deserve better, and I deserve better. The question now is, will you continue to ignore the truth? Will you continue to retaliate against those who report the violations? Or will you finally take responsibility for the illegal and dangerous conditions you allow to persist? I hope for the sake of the children that you choose the right path and keep your integrity in check.